I've got 3 businesses, 2 of which are selling double what they would usually sell. One that's selling about 45-50% of what it would usually sell, but really should be selling nothing.
Hey guys, Nathan Chen here, CEO and publisher of Founder Magazine. We're back again for another kind of lockdown interview series. I hope you and your family are doing okay and you're safe and healthy. We're trying to put out as much content as we can during this crazy time to really help and serve you however we can. So today it's going to be a really fun one because I'm here with my good friend Rory Boyle, and he's the co-founder of a couple of different companies, one called Hampers with Bite, one called Promotions Warehouse, and another one called Snacks with Bite, which is a newer company. So he runs a really successful e-commerce business, does over 8 figures. And I really want to just sit down with him and find out what's working right now. And, what are all the different things that he's doing within his business in the past few weeks after everything has changed and we're going through a crazy, uncertain time. Right now it's the 5th of April, Sunday afternoon. Rory's taking his Sunday out to share with you guys. So, look, Rory, thanks so much for taking the time, bro.
No worries at all, mate. No problems at all.
So, yeah, like I said, I really wanted to just treat this like a conversation as if me and you would have, so for context, me and Rory have known each other for quite a few years now. We help each other with our businesses, and he's a super smart guy, especially when it comes to sales and marketing, and also speaking to the B2B market, and now he's starting to move into the B2C market. So the first question I have for you, Rory, is just a bit of a background for everyone listening. How'd you get your job?
How did I get my first job in terms of when I started Hampers with Bite? That was back down in 2000 and mid-2000s. I used to be a telemarketer, so I used to sell mobile phones, cold sales mobile phones. I call somebody up who had no intention of buying a mobile phone and sort of try and persuade them to make the choice. Started the business up with my brother. He invited me back. I was living in the UK at the time, invited me back to Australia. His wife was a florist that were getting into demand for hampers. So he said, look, I know you know how to sell. Why don't you and me do this together? So I jumped into his lounge room, started calling. I got the White Pages, which is a publication in Australia, and essentially it's a book where you go to find a number in the mid-2000s of who you wanted to call. And I figured some people would pay to bold their listings, and I used to look at that book and think, why would you pay to bold your listing when somebody is already looking to find you? And I figured the people that would bold their listings or put a highlight over it must have some money to spend. So the people that I called about selling hampers to were those very people that had bolded listings. It just made sense to me. That was my qualifying at that point. It was pretty immature, but it worked. And from then we've grown and started Promotions Warehouse, and now just recently Snacks with Bite.
Yeah, wow, interesting. So let's just jump straight in. Right now, what have you done? Because I remember 3 weeks ago now, I called you and I was freaking out. I was like, what am I going to do? All this stuff. And, it wasn't my finest moment in many ways. Founders not immune to what is going on, like any company right now. And, you shared some really great advice with me, and you said really all you can do right now is control the controllables. You said you're going to have a couple of glasses of wine or maybe a bottle, and you're going to put your headphones on and listen to classical music for 5 hours, and you're just going to sit there and think. And you came up with some next level stuff that's really working. So what have you done in the past 3 weeks to a month since all of this craziness has happened to really pivot a couple of your companies, and what are you doing? What do people need to be thinking about?
Yeah, so you're right. So, when it all happened, I was in a little bit of shock, but I'd been doing this for a little while now. So I've seen a few things, and I just wanted to be the steady voice for my team. And I get that gets repeated a lot, control the controllables within my organization, but I think it's so powerful. So look, I basically did what you mentioned there, and got a bottle of wine and put on some earphones, listen to classical music, which I enjoy. It helps me think, and I started ripping apart everything we sell across all three businesses, and then I started looking at what people are going to want in this environment. So, for example, we've got a promotional products company. 75 to 80% of the product is for conferences, so that's just gone. That money's out the door. We have to say, okay, there's no way we can just sell this product because there's no conferences. So an example of what I've done there is I figure that good businesses care about their employees and want to keep them fit and healthy and occupied. So there's products within the promotional products range that we sell, like yoga mats, gym towels, drink bottles. I actually went to Google Trends. It's an awesome place to go for ideas, and looked at the uplift in searches for yoga mats. And it's like, okay, started contacting businesses about, or put together a plan to start contacting businesses about sending out branded yoga mats to your staff and clients. It was just trying to find a little clue in what I sold that might work in this environment. I did that across the board. So hampers was a little easier. I mean, we sell gifts, so the gifting is still happening. But we really moved into home care hampers. So what we really wanted to do is identify companies who cared about their employees, and that's really easy to do. And I can tell you a little bit more about how we do that a bit later. But for us, it was all about coming up with hampers that business owners would send to their staff, because the staff are really stressed. They're out of the office. They might not like their job, but they like the people they work around. So to keep that motivation up, this is a little something to say thank you. And with Snacks with Bite, it was a similar approach. I mean, we were selling exclusively snacks to offices, and then all the offices closed. So what do you do? So we had to pivot, and we had to find a way to make a B2C product where we're sending healthy snacks to people at home. And we are running Facebook ads and LinkedIn ads, and the businesses that really care about their employees are reaching out to them at this time and looking after them, because I think they know that they'll be remembered after this is sticking fat with their employees. So I guess, like, holistically, I got there. But it was a process of getting there. It was really looking at every business, what opportunity there was, and what was the product that people will need at the moment.
And was that difficult to pivot that fast? Because, like, from my perspective, like with Foundr, we're changing things up slowly, but we never move that fast. Like, to be honest, like we're still working on some new product, working on some pre-positioning and stuff. Like, how do you guys do that so fast?
Honestly, mate, I was just obsessed. Like, I've been working 14, 15 hours a day, 7 days a week, particularly at the start of this. And there's a danger of burning out. I'm not saying everyone should do that. I enjoy it. I enjoy, in some regards, this environment is really sort of, is really testing, and it really challenges you. So I've found that really powerful. So, I shared a lot with my team and asked them to come up with ideas, but I also just kind of went to war and said, okay, how are we going to do this? The other thing I did is I looked overseas, because I knew in Australia we were probably about 2 to 3 weeks behind the rest of the world in this. So I started to look what the heavy hitters overseas, market departments of 20 people have come up with, because, you don't always have to reinvent the wheel. You can look in the industry and say, okay, a bigger organization, what have they done to make their product work in this evolving situation? So there was a little bit of that. A lot of Google Trends research, a lot of looking at what we were doing, and then a lot of looking at how we were selling and how we were going to communicate with potential buyers in an outbound way, because we were pretty sure there wasn't going to be a great deal of inbound traffic, and that's been the case. So, we really just violently executed a plan to pivot, and we've evolved it and we've tinkered with it, and right now it's working really well. But I'm not like, I was on the phone to my general manager on Friday, and they were like, okay, this is great. It's like, I'm not even thinking about what we're selling now. Like, I'm just disregarding it. We're making heaps of sales now. My assumption is that it's going to stop, and what's the next thing we're going to sell? So that's all I'm thinking about. I'm not even looking at the figures and thinking this is great. I'm disregarding them. I'm working on a presumption that I'm going to have to come up with the next idea to get through this.
Yeah. So, it's up to you how transparent you want to be, but like, are you guys struggling right now, or are you like, is sales increasing, decreasing? Are you going okay? Like, yeah.
Yeah, that's fine. I'm happy to be relatively transparent. I've got 3 businesses, 2 of which are selling double what they would usually sell. One that's selling about 50% of what it would usually sell, but really should be selling nothing. And that's the promotional products company. And that's because we've just found a way to pick the gold out of branded merchandise and find a way to sell it to businesses who have staff working at home. I mean, everyone wants hand sanitizer. We can help about all that, but can't get our hands on it. But I mean, yeah, I think we're performing really, really well in that regard, and to be able and to steady the costs and pay everyone's wage. I'm not laying anyone off. That's been good. And the other 2 businesses, we are probably doubled revenue, but we're in a fortunate position. I understand that there's a lot of businesses out there that just can't happen for, it's just impossible. If you own a gym right now, you can do virtual gym lessons and so on and so forth, but it's going to be really challenging. So I don't want to sort of say that, doubling your revenue for businesses is easy in this environment. It's not. In some regards, we're probably lucky about that. We have a product that could be manipulated a little bit to work in this environment. Does that make sense?
Yeah, 100%. And I guess I just want to get for people to get a sense of kind of perhaps it's online e-commerce. Like perhaps, yeah, if you're in e-commerce, perhaps there's a much higher possibility that you're going to be okay, right? Versus a local business where basically any business where you have to speak to people face to face in person is affected right now.
Yeah, that's right. Look, we've looked a lot of people are posting a lot of different stuff on LinkedIn at the moment, which is really interesting. And we're looking at the product that we're selling, and to be honest, using Sales Navigator on LinkedIn and really using what they're saying to persuade them to buy our product, to be interested in our product, to talk about our products. These are tough times. We're going to stick together. Okay, great. I understand that you've got employees working from home. So we're reaching out to these people that are making some noise on LinkedIn and saying, I've actually cut and pasted a picture of somebody's talk on LinkedIn and written a cadence email to them and said, listen, I saw what you said. It was amazingly powerful. It's a tough time for all of us. This is what we're doing. This is how we're trying to get through this environment. It hasn't been easy for any of us. It's just something you think will work. So kind of just trying to think outside the square of getting people's attention at the moment, I think is really, really powerful as well. For us, using Sales Navigator, looking at any company that has a culture officer, any company that has, best 100 places to work, all of those things, they're all key indicators of who's going to be the right product for us. That's the right avatar who should be looking after their staff and clients. It really depends what the product is, though. For us, that's how it's worked.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. And yeah, thanks for being so transparent, bro. So let's get into some of the juicy stuff, which I know is your bread and butter around kind of cold outreach, selling on the phone, because right now in these times, that's something that you can control. Like the amount of prospects that you have, or the size of your prospect list, the amount of calls you make, the amount of inquiries you send, the amount of invoices you send out. Those are things that you can control, right? So what are you guys doing? I know you guys are next level at this. I know a lot of people can learn from this, not just we can talk about the B2C side, but more so the B2B side. What are you guys doing?
Yeah, you're right. So the very first thing we did is looked at our existing databases. I mean, that's the lowest hanging fruit, and looked at what they're buying and looked at the 3 ranges of products we've sold and tried to find a way to sell each individual product or the range of products to the different customer groups. So I got my guys to get on the phone to each of those customers and be really empathetic and say, this sucks. This is really challenging. How are you guys going? Okay, look, this is where we're at. Life's not ideal for us. Can I ask what sort of things are you guys still spending on, and is there anything we can help you with? So it's actually just literally reaching out to those customers, but not hustling, just talking like a person who's going through a time of challenge in business, just like they are. It's been hard to get people on the phone, and it is hard to get people on the phone at the moment. So outbound email is really powerful. Now, LinkedIn's a great place to really like source and find your right avatar. When I talk, I'm going to talk about the stuff that I've got experience with, and how we've done that. But we've been pouring through LinkedIn and finding the right contacts who we think are going to be interested in that product, and putting together some really strong, powerful cadence emails. So cadence emails will generally go for 4 or 5 emails that we put together, and they're not hyper salesy, but they're definitely personalized. And it's sort of asking, where are you guys? This is what we offer. Is a product you're interested in, and then following up with something that maybe is a little bit left to center. So we'll include some reviews that we've had from the product that we've sold. So we've got people posting hampers on Instagram saying, I can't believe my boss just sent me this. So actually get a cut and paste of that out and put it in an email and say, listen, this product isn't for everybody right now. I know people are struggling, but if this is something you can look at, look how powerful it is for this organization. This is going to turn, and it's really important that you're getting the most productivity out of your employees as you can at the moment. And then a third email might be a reminder about that, and a fourth email might be another example of social proof. And with that, we're mixing that in with a lot of Facebook remarketing and retargeting, CEO messages. I've put together personalized messages that I'm sending out to our key clients, just explaining where we are as an organization, how I understand how challenging it is. We're here to help and offer. You might not be in a position to buy at the moment. You might be in a position to buy, I'm not sure. But I want you to know that this is what we can do. And just really personalising that experience as much as possible is something that I've really, really encouraged our guys to do, and be human beings, because at this time we need to be human beings when we're dealing with our customers. No one wants to get slammed with heavy sales tactics, because it's not going to work.
Yeah, I agree. And it also can come off insensitive.
Yeah, which is really important. But then there's a flip side. People still want to see some fun out there, I think. And we're putting out some collateral. And one of the guys told me, marketing campaign, I should put COVID-19 in the subject line. I was like, you know what? No. How many emails have you seen with COVID-19 in the subject line? Like right now, let's put something fun out there. Let's say, yeah, this sucks, but put some, some content that makes people laugh, or is a little bit different, or tells a story of what we're doing and some of the challenges we're having in a fun way, and just kind of mixing it up and standing out from the crowd at the moment. I think empathy is really important, but it's also just showing a little bit of creativity and a bit of fun. I think people really buy into that, and it's worked for us so far. I don't know where things are going though. There's a situation, like we're in a situation in Australia where restrictions could evolve, and some of our companies might not be able to sell. So, that's where it's really important to start looking at what the next step is, and always looking forward, not resting our laurels in this environment.
Yeah. You can only really take it one day at a time, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, but you need to be considering what the next step is. You can take it one day at a time and celebrate the wins, and you've got to celebrate the wins, or it's what's it all for. But it's really important to say, okay, plan for the worst case scenario. What if this happens? Do we then get in touch with the company who sells fruit and milk, and then get in and sell that to our database? And look at what other opportunities there are to partner with other brands where we can put our stuff together. Another thing we're going to do, and when I say doing this, I don't mean we're not doing this to sell any more hampers or promotional products, but we really want to just give back. I want hampers, we want to do a pretty significant run of hamper giveaways, maybe $10,000 worth of hampers to aged care facilities and healthcare workers and people who really need it at the moment. I think it's a really good time to just show the community and your community that you actually care about people. Like, these guys have been spending tens of thousands of dollars with us over the years, and some of them can't spend that money anymore, and that's totally understandable. But we appreciate all the business you've given us and we're going to give back. And these are some of the things we're going to do. And I think of those aged care facilities where people can't get visitors at the moment, and it'd be so powerful to send, 100 hampers with shortbread and all the sort of stuff that they love in there, and really brighten their spirits. And I think sharing that message is something that we're really going to be moving into in the next few weeks, and really giving another move back as well.
Yeah, that's really cool, man, because I think now more than ever as well, I feel this obligation with the work that we do at Founder. Not only do we have to make sure we're okay as a business and I can take care of our team and our staff and stuff like that, and we've got a sustainable business, but also I feel we have this moral obligation to help our community and to really serve there, because however we can, and that's why we're doing so much content to help, because this is a time where people will remember. They'll remember the people that were just out of line, and they'll remember the people that actually cared. And I think what you said before around empathy is really, really important now more than ever.
Yeah, that's something we're taking really, really seriously. And look, if it means that we need to help out some businesses with some discounts now, and just do stuff at cost for them, just so they can keep in touch with their clients, we're doing that, and we're happy to do that. We're in a position as a business where we're riding the storm, and there's so many businesses that aren't able to do that. I want to make sure that we're not sort of ignoring how lucky we are. And in some regards you create your own luck, but there's some situations which are unavoidable. And we've had a good run for a long time, and I want to make sure at a tough time like this, we're really sort of at least doing what we can to give back to not only the people that really need it at the moment, but also to our customers and the people that have supported us for so long. And I've got customers ordered for me for 2 or 3 years in a row. It's like, okay, I want to send something to my staff. I just don't have the budget. I'll do it for cost for you. You know what I mean? It's a cool thing. It's no skin off my nose. We'll make some extra hampers and do it at cost, and it'll help you through. No obligations going forward. And I guess it's like you say, people are going to remember how we acted at this time, and you certainly don't want to be perceived as price gouging and taking advantage of the situation. And nor do I want to. I don't want to go to bed and think about business like that. I really don't. I'm not in it for that. Money doesn't really mean that much to me.
Yeah, I respect that about you, man. So, tell me about stock though. Like, are you being affected around all that? Like, do you order much product from China? Like, I know of Emily's Bottle, another business, but I know with Emily's Bottle, like, it's actually not too bad. Like, she can make orders. It's just slowed down a little bit, but she can still get stock, and she's probably going to place another order and get it in a couple of months. So tell me, are you experiencing anything around stock, or what are you doing there creatively, or?
Yeah, so it's a challenge, a very big challenge for us, particularly because we order a lot from China. What's happened is there's some provinces that are sort of business as usual, and others where stock just isn't coming out and containers aren't leaving. So look, we're in a situation. All right, so for Christmas time this year, I've got to do 80% of my trade, yearly trade, or 70 to 80% of my trade in the last 3 or 4 months of the year. And invariably, we need to take a gamble and have historically on how much stock we purchase from China in terms of packaging items like cooler bags and cheese boards and so on. And doing that in this environment is an incredible challenge. So I'll be honest with you, what I've done is put together almost a worst case cash forecast that worked on us breaking even through the period. I will take a conservative approach to international purchasing, and probably a more strategic way of producing goods towards Christmas. So I'm treating a win this year as a break even-ish. I think if we get through this year and break even, then that's a good result. And I'm pretty conservative in the way I'm playing out this year. Yes, we could be taking chances, but I don't think it's the right thing to do. I just think the survival is the key right now.
Interesting. So coming back to it, that kind of answers my question around stock. Coming back to it, like, what can you share with our audience around kind of next level sales tactics, B2B strategies? What can people be thinking about if they've just got, a prospect list, or how do, let's start from the start. How do you build a list of prospects? How do you even work out who your customer avatar is? What do you do there? Because your avatar, has it changed or a little bit, or?
Yeah, no, it hasn't really changed. Yeah, all right. So customer avatar, we need to get pretty simple. And what I've done a long time ago is got a list of all of my big customers, or a large percentage of the customers, say 1,000 customers, B2B customers. I've employed someone on Upwork to go onto LinkedIn and answer 5 questions that I asked. And 1, what is the industry? 2, how many people do they employ? 3, what is the job title of the decision maker? 4, how long does that person usually stay in a job? And that's a really important one, because we need to know how long we need to keep refreshing and reaching out to these guys, because on average, say, marketing manager stays in their job 3 years. Well, if that leads 4 years old, we need to make sure that we're re-engaging with those guys, or otherwise the new marketing manager is not getting that collateral. And we sort of, so that gives us a great indicator of what our customer avatar is. The next thing that we do when making B2B decisions is looking at what the lifetime value of our customer is. And that's really important for us. It's not very hard to do. It's just in the most simplistic way, we can look at the amount of revenue we've generated over a period divided by the amount of customers that we've serviced during a period. It'll give us a rough indicator of LTV. So now I know who my customer is and how much I can pay to acquire them. And we'll then put together a number of different avenues of how we're going to hit up these customers. I believe in a really diverse range of activity, whether it be telesales and getting guys on the phone, making sure we're collecting emails, remarketing on Facebook, cold outbound cadence emails. In my business, I've used catalogs before. So I don't rest too much on one medium. I think that's really dangerous. And in terms of B2B strategies, obviously reaching out to these guys at the right time when they're ready to buy, as well as being on the forefront and having reactionary marketing and advertising under promotional products. So when someone's looking for the products, that you're first of mind. And then once we get them to our website, I'm the biggest believer is just make sure you do everything you can to get their details before they leave. People, whether it be aggressive live chat strategies, exit pop-ups, whatever it might be. If I've finally got that person to engage, then I assume they're our property and we cannot let them go. There's some products that read ISPs, which will tell me, like a product called Leadfeeder, for example, which will read ISPs that visit my website and give me an indication of a company that might have visited my website and showed some interest but never engaged in any of our sort of call outs, whether live chats or anything. So I'll dedicate one guy to contact those businesses and navigate his way through the organization to find out who might have been contacting us. I guess just really ensuring that no opportunity is lost for us. And that's what it's always been. It's so challenging and competitive out there that I encourage my team to do everything that they have to do to make sure that if we've developed a conversation with a customer, if they're engaged with us or in a brand or have opened an email, then we do everything we can to at least give ourselves the best chance to sell to them.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes sense. And talk to me around kind of when you do the phone sales stuff, you do some crazy stuff, man, where you train up a lot of people, and you've got pretty comprehensive sales scripts and stuff. I know we can't go too in depth with it, but what do people need to think about if they are just hustling on the phone or they are trying to, where can you start?
I love this stuff. This is my favorite, to be honest. Yeah, because I think I used to work in telesales, and it's cool. It's a great feeling to be able to close and get on a phone and generate sales, and it's the cheapest way to do it. And I would dare challenge you to say there's never been a better time in 50 years to telemarket right now, because so many people are doing the exact opposite. They're putting all their marketing revenue into digital and other areas, and all of a sudden it's a lot easier to get on the phone with a decision maker within an organization. So what I believe in doing when approaching selling is building a call scorecard. So what we do is spend some time yourself, got to be yourself, and work out what the ideal script is to speak to a customer. Now, that means get in a phone, making some mistakes, re-listen to call, getting external advice of where things might have gone right or wrong, and keep refining that process to the point where we get to and we say, okay, this is the formula, this is what works, and then build a call scorecard. And when we start to scale a sales team, we get one or two other guys on the phone. We said, "This is it. This is the pitch, if you will, or this is the communication we need on the phone. This is how we react." We score everything from tone to objection handling to 8-miling. Like for example, 8-miling is an objection that's we know we're going to get. It's like I don't have budget now. For example, customer might say to me from Snacks with Bites, "Okay, you don't have a budget to look after your staff at the moment. What if by spending this money you get a greater return from your employees, and therefore you budget positive?" And it's looking at every aspect of the phone call and getting really granular and sitting down and listening to the guys' calls and identifying their weaknesses and continuing to train them and scaling up a really strong sales team. I don't believe in sounded scripted, but there has to be there's key objectives in every call that you guys or yourself have to be making. Even if it's just yourself, you have to say, okay, make a list. So make sure that when I first spoke to the customer, it wasn't like, "Oh, thank you for taking my call. I really appreciate it." You don't want to do that. You don't want to come across like they're doing you a favor. You're giving them an opportunity. So it's like, "Hey, it's great to speak to you. I'm glad you were able to make time. I think it's a great decision." To really be strong in that regard. So that would be like maybe one call scar 1 out of 5. How did I go with my introduction? And we'll do that, and we'll do a lot of call scoring. Prospecting is obviously super important. Prospecting comes from the information that we gather from LinkedIn that I talked about before. When we got all of our customers, we find out what industry they're in, what role they're in, what they do. We learn everything we can about them. So then we go and get new leads. We make sure that they meet that sort of criteria, give ourselves the best chance, and then get out there and just make the calls. It doesn't cost much. And that's how I started my business. That's how I started most of the businesses, just getting on a phone. Even this last business that I've just launched, Snacks with Bite, all of the heavy lifting right now is being done on a phone. And it still works. I promise you, you can still sell on a phone. You've just got to put together a compelling message and be selling something that's meaningful and has a product that has worth.
And how long does it take, do you think, to get your call scorecard and script and everything dialed in?
Well, it doesn't have to be perfect straight away, but I mean, I don't know, let's be realistic. If you really want it, you can make 50 calls, 60 calls a day. No one wants to, but you can. And what you want to do is just keep evolving and improving. And I'd guess after a week, you've learned enough. One, you've re-listened to your calls and maybe got a colleague to sit down and share with you their thoughts on it, or somebody who has some experience in sales and get them to listen to your calls. But I think within a week, you should be able to get something really strong. But it all comes down to effort and how many calls you're willing to make every day.
So you reckon after around 100 calls, like actual, because you're saying 50 dials, and we're talking cold calling here as well, so you're saying after around maybe 100, speaking to at least 50 to 100 people, you're going to get a pretty good idea of how to refine this.
I would say that, yeah, I would definitely say that. I mean, it depends. I mean, it's a fair number. And cold calling, it doesn't necessarily have to be cold calling. I mean, you need to learn a little bit about who you're calling before you're calling them. Learn a bit about their business. Go on to their mission statement on their website and say, "Listen, I was giving you guys a call because I know that your philosophy in your business is to care, to innovate, to be at the forefront. I've got a product that I think is going to do that. Here's a compelling offer that I can offer you guys if I can speak to the right person," or whatever it might be. So I think if you mix that up and there's no exact number, but after 100 calls, maybe you should have a very good idea. That doesn't mean the first 10 are going to be horrible. They might just be okay, but they're still good. You can still make wins off those calls. You don't have to be perfect straight away. You know what I mean?
So coming back to call scripts, what do you do to handle objections? What are some things that people can do, especially because it's so scary, man? It's really difficult from my personal experience.
Yeah, okay. Objection handling, yeah, I mean, that's the greatest challenge. I mean, no, that's not the greatest challenge. The greatest challenge is getting through to the right person to speak to. The second greatest challenge is dealing with objections. So I've worked with a gentleman over the years who sold me on the concept of 8 miling, which I brought up before. And it's, in principle, presenting the expected objection prior to them bringing it up. So budget might be an issue. So instead of sort of waiting for them to say, I'm not sure if we can fit our budget, that sort of stuff, said, look, I understand that everybody's budget's tough right now. So we sell snacks. So what I might say to a customer who I'm trying to sell snacks to is say, okay, I understand budget, having to go to management is really challenging. But look, what are you guys spending on fruit at the moment? Okay, and I might say $200, $300. All right, look, think of it this way. We don't have to spend any more. We just reallocate the budget. So what we've done is got us on the front foot with that objection and turned what was potentially going to be a negative throughout the call into a positive. Now, that can be said for a lot of different things. I mean, given the time, I think I could skew an 8 mile to most objections. So that's what you really want to do. You're not going to close all of your calls, but you do your numbers, and if you can be closing 30, 20% of outbound calls, then that's a tremendous result. And it's all about activity. Make 5 calls, you close 1, say, okay, that's acceptable. You do 10 calls, you close 3 maybe, or whatever it is, and you just keep scaling up, and all of a sudden you get momentum, bring somebody else on, and keep kind of scaling the process that you've worked out that works. It's not never going to be easy, but and it is scary, but if you want it enough, you get on the phone and you make the calls, and that's it.
Yeah, I see. And when it comes to like doing it yourself as a business owner, founder, where you've got so many things going on right now, how do you prioritize, getting on the phone to your customers? Let's just say you're a solopreneur right now and just early days. How do you prioritize this, man?
All right, look, if you want to know what my perspective is, and I'm really strong on this, is that 80% of your activity should revolve around selling or revenue generating. So it's the number one priority. There's a million people out there with great products that they'll never make it because they don't know, they're not willing to sell, or they don't know how to sell. Most of it's they're not willing to sell. So when starting a business, a large part of your day needs to be allocated to just getting on a phone or using some sort of activity to sell. Maybe you've got a beautiful craft product that, I don't know, some nice chutneys or something, and you're going out and doing taste testings with cafes and so on and so forth. But it just has to be a priority, doesn't it? It's not about fitting it in, it's fitting everything else around selling, because you don't have a product unless you can sell it. As simple as that. So there's a lot of ways to do it. And I've gone, when I say, cold calling, I think we really need to start thinking about, okay, how do we get to the right call? So LinkedIn Sales Navigator is brilliant. For $99 a month, you can get so granular on description, positions, locations, how many employees. You can, if you know what your customer avatar is going to be, you can very easily really fine tune who you contact and give the very best opportunity to create a winning call. And that winning call might not be straight up. And look, a compelling offer is great. If you can offer something for free and get them to try your product, and that it can work for you in a financial sense, and that's where we need to take into consideration the lifetime value of a customer and how much they're going to spend with us in the future. And can I afford to send a $20 product out for free to them to try? Then, I mean, that's a really powerful way to generate opportunity. And let's say you were doing that. Let's say, I don't know, you want to sell businesses this super new mouse mat that you got, right? And they've got a team of 200 because I've researched that on LinkedIn, and they're an IT company and everyone, needs a mouse mat. So what we do is we contact the decision maker, research who the decision maker is within the organization, do our best to get on the phone with those guys, explain what the product is, say, listen, I'm so confident on this product that I'm willing to send it to you free of charge. It's going to cost us a little bit, but so be it, providing we close the right amount of leads that we need to close, and you're going to invariably make money and scale up. So we send out that product and say, listen, I want to speak to you in 5 days' time once you received it. And between that time of sending the free product and those guys receiving the free product, there needs to be a really strong course of action. So, you need to let them know, I've just dispatched it. You need to, while you're on the phone, get them to commit to a time where you'll catch up to discuss what they thought of the product. And that's just not like, can I send you a meeting invite? It's like, can you, if I send you a meeting invite and send this product out to you, can you promise me we could jump on a call on Thursday at 10 a.m.? And it's when you ask somebody to promise you something, I've read somewhere you get a 3 times better return on commitment. And ask them to actually do that, and then send them an agenda of what we're going to talk about. So, okay, so you can tell me why. What did you think? Not what did you think of the mouse mat, but why is this mouse mat better than the mouse mat you guys are using at the moment? How much do you think it can increase productivity? And you want them to be saying yes, I believe it is. Okay, well, can you not afford to take on this product? And I mean, mouse mats is just an arbitrary product, but there's a lot that goes into it. And I know I'm kind of jumping back and forth, but this is just coming through my mind right now. When we're having that initial call, you really need to be selling a gap. You've really got to understand why. If you can't get the customer to acknowledge that they need this product, or that whatever they're using isn't working, then it's going to be very hard to sell. So when I'm first speaking to, say, Sue, who's in charge of office supplies, then I want to know, okay, how are your mouse mats working at the moment? Are you getting complaints? Are you wearing them out? Do you have to keep replacing them? And whatever it might be. And she says, the guys really get the shits. They said they're not really accurate and it's stuff. Okay, so given the right mouse mat, then you believe you can increase staff productivity, happiness, make your workplace better. And it's like, yeah, I think I could. Okay, no problems. So when we're jumping on that call again to them, it's like, okay, do you think this product was able to achieve what you needed to achieve? Well, yes, it was. But I understand it's going to cost a little bit more to send it. Now we're 8 miling them. I understand it's going to cost them a little bit more to buy this product. But don't you think, as you said, with the increased productivity, it'll pay for itself? So I'm just throwing a few different sort of ideas around how we nurture an opportunity and sell. I hope it's helpful. I think it could have been more structured, but yeah, there's some thoughts. Let's call it a brainstorm.
Yeah, no, it's all good. So what are some other things people need to be thinking about when it comes to, I guess, selling? Can you do this over email? Or is like...
Email's really powerful. So Cadence emails are brilliant. It's not very challenging to get the contact details of your potential decision makers, and putting together really compelling copy is really important. Now, when researching opportunities, if you go to freelancer.com or Upwork, there's plenty of people out there who can help. You get the data that you need to get to contact and reach out to the right decision makers. And then really it's about putting together copy that is personalized, first of all, that's interesting. Second, like I was talking to you before about the LinkedIn post. So if I want to, there might be a girl called Mary who works at a IT company I know is a perfect fit for snacks. So what I'll actually do is I'll scroll through some of Mary's posts, because she's the culture and wellness manager, and she's put up a picture of Mary and her team going out for lunch. And I'll actually copy and paste that picture into the email and sort of say, hey, Mary, looks like you really care about your team. I could see that from this awesome lunch you've done. Can I send you a free snack box to see what you think about our products? Now, you're going to get a pretty strong reply on an email like that. But you've really, and you probably, that's a timely way to do things. It's going to take effort and time, but it's going to increase your return. Obviously, you could do mass selling with just personalizing company, mass emailing, personalizing company and person's name. But I would challenge you to be as out there as possible, as being different as possible, and just being as quirky as possible. Because right now, people are receiving more outbound Cadence emails than they ever have. So you got to stand out. So do your research and find a little bit about who you're contacting and mix it up in an email is what I'd say, and make sure that you're sending 3-4 emails. You know, the first email, they look at it, they go, who are these guys? That's it. Second email, maybe they have a bit of a glance, think, okay. Third email, you put something really interesting in. Now, these are interesting. I'll Google them. And then that fourth email is, all right, I'm going to make contact with these guys. I'll set up an appointment time. So, you know, persistence and getting really granular and creative with their emails, I think, is really what's important.
Yeah, no, I love it. Look, I'd like to switch gears and just talk about this current climate, because I know, like, a lot of people might be thinking now is definitely the last, like, time you'd want to launch or start a business in this climate. What's your take on that? Like, if you had the opportunity to use your skill set right now, or, you know, going back in time, like, would you think this is a good time to launch a business or an e-commerce business for that matter?
Yeah, I probably would. And that might sound a little bit crazy, but to be honest, obviously you want to be really thoughtful about what that product is. But I think right now presents us with a really unique opportunity to be looking at what products are going to work in the future and what products aren't going to work. And even things aren't going to change overnight. This is the life and business as we know it has changed forever. So being innovative about the sort of product that we're bringing to market right now and what's going to work, I think gives us an opportunity that almost like a fresh start. You know, it's like for 10 years, the last 20 years, everyone's coming up with the same products. And now all of a sudden everything's been mixed up and shaken up. It's like, okay, what can I sell that is different and is going to, you know, adapt to this new environment that we live in? The other thing is that people have taken a step back in advertising. I know through a Facebook advertising or Google advertising that that the bidding's going down. There's a lot of people that are just rather going into the shell or unfortunately not able to operate anymore. So if you've got low overheads and you can sort of get a little bit of traction running from home at the moment, when things open up, and they will, the economy's going to bounce back, people spend again, you can actually put yourself in a really strong position and a little bit of market's cleared out and you've got a really unique product. So I think that there's real opportunity for the right product right now. And if I wanted to start a business, I would be, if it was 2004 again, this was happening, it wouldn't stop me from starting a business. No, I wouldn't say that.
When it comes to like creating products, you wouldn't choose a product though that's like just focused for this market if we know it might be 12, 24 months time period and then after that runs out. You want to still choose something longevity, right? Like, or a suite of products, right? Like e-com, you know? Like you're not going to...
Yeah, look, I get your point. I do. But I look at the current situation. I look at how many people are working from home at the moment. And even when things pick up, I think a lot more people are going to be working from home because they see how this works, and maybe less people are going to be paying rent. So maybe there's just like genuine opportunity in looking and saying, okay, what's the next 3 to 4 years going to look like when this passes, and what businesses have learned from this experience. I think there's genuine opportunity. Now, naturally, there's always going to be demand for other products like, you know, the drink bottles and I don't know, whatever it might do. But I think, you know, if it was me and I was sitting there, I'd be thinking, you know, about the products that one I could innovate to adapt to. I think where we're going to go to as a business world. I think a lot's going to change the way people are doing business. They're seeing that this can work. You know, 2 months ago, I reckon 1 in 3 people knew what Skype or Zoom was in upper management in businesses, whereas now, like, you know, everyone's living and breathing it. So I don't know. I think that there's an opportunity for most any products. If it's marketed the right way and there's a genuine need for it now, but things are going to turn around. And if there's a product that isn't specific to the current environment, then yeah, obviously you can make it work. But I'm just thinking a little bit more sort of philosophically about how to approach new products at the moment, I guess.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. Well, look, man, this has been an awesome conversation. So much gold shared. There's some things that I'm going to take away personally and implement within Foundr, which is kind of crazy because we speak like every week. So tell me, man, like what like kind of parting words of wisdom would you like to share with our audience? And then where's the best place people can find out more about you and your work?
Okay, parting words. Keep trying to sell. Keep trying to move. if you're breaking even and bringing on new customers within your infrastructure, that's cool. Don't worry about it. Just try and ride this storm out. Cut the cost that you need to cut, but whatever you do, don't cut your advertising, don't cut your learning, don't cut your personal development. This is the prime time to skill yourself up, because when this is said and done, there's probably going to be a little less competition out there, and you're going to have that's gold. That's money in the bank. Everything you learn, everything that every customer that you brought on, even if you haven't made a profit but you're broken even on them at the moment, is money in the bank that you're going to be able to use and use that intellectual property that you've acquired over this period, use that customer that you might have not made any money for now, but you can sell to a second, third, fourth time potentially when the dust settles. So I'd be really thinking like that, and that's how I'm thinking. Secondly, if you'd like to know a little bit more about what I do, I'm starting to share a little bit more. Just follow Rory Boyle on LinkedIn. If you type Rory Boyle Hampus with Bite, you'll see regular updates, and honestly reach out, particularly at the moment. If you've got any questions or anything, I'm happy to answer them. I've got a little bit more spare time than I'm used to. So yeah, that's. Hopefully some of I could share. Hopefully some of what I've said is helpful and can, if there's one or two things you can take away from it, I'd be really pleased, because I know I want everyone to succeed at the moment. It's a tough time, but we need our economy to keep going, and we need young entrepreneurs to keep hustling and coming up with some great ideas that are going to push us forward.
Awesome. Well, look, thanks so much for your time, brother, and really appreciate our friendship and everything that we share and help each other out. So thanks so much for taking the time, man, on your Sunday.
No, anytime, mate. We'll keep it up. Speak soon. See ya.
Ciao.
The Founder mission is to help you create an ass-kicking business and help you learn straight from the mouths of world-class founders. Get your free printed edition of Founder Magazine featuring Sir Richard Branson. Just cover shipping and handling at founder.com/Branson.